Here you go, Silverbolt here, back for the second of my reviews for this evening. NDUD2 gave me the initial idea for this, and though he sounds like a very weird astromech droid, it was a very good idea, and I thought, yes, I'm going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to be reviewing Icing Death and Twinkle, the swords of the Drow Ranger Drizzt ur'den, very popular character from the Forgotten Realms settings, created by R.A. Salvatore. Okay, now the first one we're going to do, Icing Death, because you've seen Icing Death before. I love this noise. The noise it makes when it slides out of the sheath. It's lovely, it's lovely. You've seen Icing Death before in one of my earlier reviews, my early subscribers messages, sorry. Okay, now my Icing Death is one of number 266 of only 500 in the world. So this is actually one of the original limited edition ones. I'll just show it to you now. I'm being very careful about touching the blade. Okay, I'm also being very careful about not, because if I'm not careful, I'm going to skewer my fingertip right through into the ceiling, and that won't be very pleasant. And Philly would kill me. But anyway, this is the sword. I wish I had some better light for this, but this will have to do. It does come complete, obviously, with Drow script on the blade. I'm trying to get this in a place so you can actually see properly. Go that way. There you go. You can get kind of a view of it there. And it's really strange why it's got Drow lettering on the blade, because the sword itself isn't actually of Drow make. It's Icing Death. Neither Icing Death nor Twinkle are actually made by the Drow. Icing Death is made by one group of elves, and I believe Twinkle's made by the Moon Elves. Drizzt, of course, gets Icing Death from the cave of the dragon, of the White Dragon Icing Death, when he helps kill it with Wolfgar. And its magical properties quickly come about when he fights the, I believe it's a Tanari. Yes, he's a Tanari, ur'den. When he basically sticks the scimitar in him and it promptly eats him away, because the sword is designed to fight demons of fire. So it does come in very, very useful there. It also saves Bruenor when Bruenor is falling into the chasm on the back of Shimmergloom, because of course at that point they have Icing Death thinking that Drizzt is dead. Okay, that's Icing Death firstly. The second sword is, of course, and this one's definitely more famous than the other, is of course Twinkle. And I have no jokes about the name. He gets Twinkle in the next book, Streams of Silver, the second in the Icewind Dale trilogy, and he's given to him by one of the Harples. Is it Reginald Harple? Can't remember which one of the Harples it is. It gives to him, and again has Dark Elven script inscribed on the blade. Twinkle is, well, Twinkle's only seemingly magical properties is to glow blue. It's actually controlled by the wielder. Has the ability to glow blue. In the game Dungeons and Dragons itself, 3.5, Drizzt of course has his own rules. Now originally, I'm pretty sure originally he was depicted as a level 10 fighter, a level 5 ranger, and a level 1 barbarian. But now it just seems to be that he's depicted as a level 16 ranger fighter, which is really strange, because the barbarian aspect to his profile was to show off the secondary personality of Drizzt, that is the hunter. But there we go. The swords, of course, also come into the game. Icing Death is a +3 Frostbrand scimitar. There you go, to get a shot of the blade in there a bit. +3 Frostbrand scimitar. And Twinkle is a +5 defending scimitar. Okay, now onto the swords themselves. Both of them are 36.75 inches long. They have 30-inch blades, and they weigh about 8 pounds. Now, a couple of things on that. In one of the Forgotten Realm books, it does say that the swords, the Icing Death and Twinkle, where Drizzt is concerned, weigh about 2 pounds each. So they're quite a lot heavier than they should be. Also, in the Crystal Shard, when he first gets Icing Death, there is a description of Icing Death's hilt that they either forgot about when they made the sword, or just didn't bother to include, or didn't bother to work it in the hope that they'll become, so they've got some matching abilities. They look identical, sorry. And the hilt itself is, I believe it's in the shape of a cat. The pommel itself is in the shape of a cat, very similar to Catti Bree's sword, Khazad-dû, when Khazad-dû is trying to take over, trying to be wielded by Drizzt. Doesn't want to be wielded by Catti Bree. Okay. The swords, I said, weigh about £8 each. Now that's a pretty good weight. And one thing I'll say about them, when they design the swords with Twinkle is designed to be held in the left hand. It's a defending scimitar. It's designed to be held in the left. And me and Adam, my friend Adam, we're both discussing this. We both know a fair bit about swords. We both have some abilities where sword fighting is concerned. My weapon of choice is actually twin blades. Though I'm still getting a little unfamiliar with using 3-foot long blades. Nearly 3-foot long blades. I prefer short swords, but there we go. And holding it in the right hand, it's okay. You can hold it in the right hand, not too much of a problem. Try not to skew anything here, because I can just see me going right through my monitor. But if you put it into your left, it feels much better. It feels snugger in your left hand. And whether that's just me and Adam knowing the history of Twinkle, that he wears it in his left hand side, or whether they've actually designed it to be held in his left hand, I don't know. So, Icing Death and Twinkle. Icing Death in the right, Twinkle in the left. Okay, absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous weapons. Philly, I originally got Icing Death about 3 years ago, I think it was now, and it was 120 quid, and it had just come out, I believe. And it was when I got it, I've virtually fell in love all over again. Twinkle I got this Christmas, and Philly got it me, and I loved her for it, because I was so pleased with them, it was actually a toss about what I wanted to play with more, Twinkle or Darth Vader Death Star. Twinkle won on that one. Obviously, I don't keep them in the leather sheaths, because anybody who knows anything about swords knows you never keep a sword in its leather sheath. And unfortunately, my Icing Death, though I'll soon be sorting it because I've got a very good polishing kit on its way to me, has a few burrs in it, and I've got a feeling that's from my delightful brother deciding to have a play with it, and I was not impressed when I found out that he'd been doing this. Do you know what? I've got virtually the full weight of this on the end of my finger, and it's bloody sharp! The swords themselves, there is a cack, and I mean, when I say cack, I mean a cack version of these swords going out. I mean, these originals, leather bound handles, silver plated handles, so silver plated hilt and pommel. The sheaths as well are also silver plated on the metal bits at the end of the scabbard and on the lips. There's an artificial sapphire in Twinkle itself. That's rather glittery. And there's Diamante in Icing Death. 2 at the top and 2 at there. They will set you back a fair penny if you don't buy the really cack, nasty, cheap ones. And they are really cack, nasty, cheap looking things. They will set you back very much a pretty penny. But they make such a beautiful display piece. They really do. I love these swords. They are gorgeous, gorgeous weapons. But I could sit here and prevaricate on about the virtues of these swords, but I think I shall sign off for now, because you've listened to me ramble for long enough, and I shall just sign off saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.